Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art and Talks Impression. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Impression. Impression is Art and Talks' new adjunct video series that provides the guest artist an opportunity to present an overview or impression of their art while also highlighting one area as well. Our guest for today is a post-disciplinary artist. He works in a variety of mediums, and we're going to be exploring an ongoing painting project of his that works with the themes of currency, spending, and receipts. And of course, we'll be having an overview of his art as well. All right, so again, thank you for being with us. Let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Jason Mena. Hi, Jason, welcome.
Hi, Leslie. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so it's wonderful to have you here. You have such deep, thought-provoking artwork, and I'm so excited to explore some things with you. I was wondering if we could start, Jason, with some of the areas that interest you, that you explore through your art. So some of the things you're interested in are economical, political, societal, and also exploring the mundane everyday life as well.
Yeah, that's correct. I like to include that the mundane in such more, profound topics because it's something it's common for all of us, right? These issues are issues that everybody can relate to in one way or another. So that's the kind of the mundane, also how those things affect your everyday life.
Yes, and I found it very intriguing in your bio, Jason, and I'm excited to hear your commentary on this, that through your art, you aim to, irrespective of the different mediums that you use, which are a lot of different ones, but it seems like, as you stated in your bio, that you aim to strike a balance between the rational and the irrational, and there's some underlying perspective that is unanswerable. Can you touch upon that for us?
Yes, well, because it also depends on your perspective on certain issues, right? For one, it could be rational, and for the other, that perspective could be irrational. So those sometimes those when you reach a balance in, say, of opinions, right? You either enter a neutral space or the unanswerable, something that cannot be described, or is sometimes best said kind of untouched in a way, because it'll create tensions, and I try to create work in that space as well, that'll create enough tension for attention, but not enough to immediately reject or disagree, but in order to open a dialogue that we can be in the same kind of a standing or level of understanding of what is the issues that we are, or I guess in my work I'm trying to describe.
So really what you're aiming to do, if I'm understanding you correctly, is you want to, through your art, open up a conversation. You in a sense, remaining in a state of neutrality, but yet still presenting things to kind of stimulate some type of conversation.
Exactly. I see the work itself as that spark in that conversation.
Mhm. And you work in so many different areas, whether it's painting, photography, video, sound, animation, installation, curatorial projects, so many different areas. What are the areas that really attract you the most, that you find the most fulfillment and enjoyment with? And what are the current areas that you're working in now?
Yeah, well, what is most challenging as well, but also it gives me more gratitude, is to always do work in collaboration with other artists or people in general, right? That's something like in curatorial projects that I might be working on at the moment. The whole idea of just collaborating with other artists and hearing how they speak about their work, and be in this sense more at the receiving end of the information as a viewer, instead of as an artist that is trying to project something with their work. So that's what I like the most. I like that position best. For example, or it can also be working with a small community or a small group of people in general that have maybe nothing to do with art in their practice, but we have some kind of leveled ground that we can work in, saying in workshops and things like that. So that's something that brings me a lot of joy to do, to be in projects like that. My work in general at the moment, it's always been about that kind of also relationship and how that can also create some kind of currency or value to relationships.
And let's talk about, Jason, this ongoing project that we're going to focus on for a little bit, that you started in 2017, and it deals with spending, it deals with currency, it deals with receipts. It's a really fascinating project. Tell us about it, and of course it relates to a lot of things going on right now in terms of inflation and the cost of things. Tell us how this project started, and bring us a little bit up to speed to how it's been kind of unfolding now.
Sure. Well, this work kind of started as a kind of accidental joke in a way. I was a friend a while back asked me for if I could lend him 50 cents. And I didn't have the exact change at the moment. I only had $1. And as a joke, I tore the dollar in half and gave him half of that dollar. And we just laughed. It was just a joke, and I didn't think about it much. But we started after that having a conversation about how that dollar can still, even though it's cut in half, can retain its full value. And the side that has the value or retains the value is the size that has the most amount of surface area. So if you break the dollar exactly in half, then it's worthless on either end, but together they're worth the dollar again. But if you break like 1/3 of that dollar away, that remaining 2/3 will still be worth $1. So that's when the idea began of cutting a strip from the top side of the dollars, kind of taking away material, but still having enough of it left that it will retain its full value, and then I can still spend it. And these strips that I've been, I keep collecting, I would then add them up in a series of paintings that these strips or lines will create a surface, and nuances from the dirt and certain like written text or inks that has been like smeared. All these register on the bill itself, and those strips kind of also are a record of that. And by adding all these together, it creates also a visual like nuance of spots here and there, and it's kind of also interesting to look at. And this also at the beginning, it was not as much about looking at it in kind of like an archive, but it kind of grew up into that, because now you can look back into that work and you can also see the price of things before, during, and after the pandemic, and they're kind of create like a record now of all this spending from that I've done over the years that I've been making this work.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating concept, Jason. So are you actually slicing the top of US dollar bills, different ones, and then creating them in succession on a board, and then presenting them in that fashion, which does create an interesting visual. The concept, as I mentioned, is fascinating. And now it's kind of moved into its documenting as time has progressed, what you've been spending things on and where, and the cost. So you get to kind of see different patterns and how things have changed and moved throughout the times. I'm curious, when you first started it, Jason, did you plan on it to be ongoing? Is that a theme that you kind of stay with some of your projects, and talk to us about the receipts that are also on the back, because that's such a fascinating aspect to it as well.
Well, actually, I didn't think of it ongoing, but again, this has been like a series of just chances or accidents that have ended in positive results. So while I was studying my master's degree, I showed this work at one of those visiting artist presentations that we do. Somebody was interested in acquiring the work, and it was purchased. So I lost that work in a way, you know, I don't have it anymore, but I wanted to keep showing it. So I made another one. And this second work was also acquired by somebody. It was collected. So I was like, wait a minute, I think I might be able to go, you know, through summer and hold my, you know, my own economically doing my studies. And this is something, another accident, right? But I was fascinated by the whole fact that I was creating value and not, you know, not out of nothing, because I wasn't losing anything. I still had that dollar, but now I can turn it into a work, and that work can be acquired by somebody, and that person is willing to pay more than $1 for. So this was something that also kind of sparked my mind into see how far I can take it. And then after a while, it wasn't even about selling it or not. It was just about, I have already created some kind of a, not custom to it, but it became part of my everyday in a way, in a sense. So every now and then I still sit down, I slice a few dollars and I put them in my pocket, and I just go out and I spend them. And I also signed, I forgot to mention this earlier, I also signed the dollar bills that I cut the strip off. So if you eventually find this dollar somewhere, right, you also have, you could say, intervention or a work from that is certified by my signature. So you have there something also of value to the person that might be interested in it.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm going to be looking at my bills now and seeing if I see the top area is gone, and see if it has your signature. You have put together a really interesting video that really visually helps us to get a handle on this project. Now it's untitled, so there's no specific name to it. Is that correct?
Yes, there's no specific names, but I do have names for the work individually, and it's the sum of the amount of money I spent on I add all the receipts, and that's the title of the work. So it's untitled, and whatever the sum of that particular work adds up to be.
I see. I see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so we can take a look. Give me just a moment.
Yes, this is the front side of this is what you will be normally looking at if you confront this work in a gallery wall or in just a, you know, wall or space. And this is the back side where all the receipts are attached, where the sliced dollars were spent on. So I can sometimes use more than $1 on one transaction, but it was all spent there. This one is, you can see like a reddish or more like a pink hue in the middle. It's because this is made from $20 bills. The first one was made from $1 bills. So there's a difference in the colors. And this is the back side of the same painting. Here I'm buying $20 worth of gasoline. And at the moment I didn't figure this out, but I'm adding now the value of the gasoline and how much liters I put in with that $20. This is me working in the studio in Mexico, and I'm actually there slicing some of the pesos, because I did a version for Mexican pesos when I was there. These are also scans of some of the receipts, and it's just, again, this is speaking about the mundane. This is what we do every day, but we don't pay attention to the receipts at all. Sometimes we just crumple them and you know, throw them immediately to the side, or we don't even, you know, when the cashier tells you if you want the receipt, you just say, no, you can throw it away. But there's a lot of information there. If you really look carefully to them, there are even information phone numbers where you can call for information, or sometimes you get some kind of discounts and things like that. And there are other information also that interesting to notice, that the names that the cashiers or the different stores give to items. This is also me working in the studio in Mexico. This is me counting the pesos that I was gonna use that day. So you see, it's part of the routine of my studio. As almost as sharpening the pencils, I just go with the whatever I'm gonna spend $20 today. So I slice one and I go out and I try to see if I can get away with it, because sometimes they do notice and they don't accept it. But the majority of the time, people still believe in the value of the dollar that I'm handing out, that they don't care if it's missing a piece or not, because of that discussion I had with my friends that I was mentioning earlier. So
what an interesting evolution of how this whole project even started, and how it's transformed and evolved. And I think it's a great example of your combination in this particular case, Jason, of your interest in the economic and the mundane, because it's really combining both, and you're really kind of in a sense leading our eye to look at something that one might consider mundane, just as an easy example, going up to the store, going to fill the car up with gas, and you're having us look at the receipts, looking at the information, looking at currency also in a different way, and of course the relevancy tied into some things that are going on now. So what a beautiful illustration, tying in so creatively and with such innovation of some of the areas that you like to tap into in your art.
Thank you. This is kind of routine already. And like I said, it's something that we all do. I just put a little more attention to it, but we all participate in this. This is what we as consumers do every day.
And let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now with some of your art projects. We still have a few more minutes. I know you're getting ready to go out of town for a residency, and I just like to make mention that you have been awarded many residencies, and that your work has been featured in many prominent publications. So what is going on right now that you can share with us with your art, your creativity?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to. I was currently invited for a residency at MassMoCA, which is the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art. I was going to participate in this residency summer of 2020, but then we were hit by COVID. So this was postponed for 2 years, this residency. So I'm finally and have some time there for about a month or so to work on my art, do some research in the museum's archives, and just be there surrounded by art 24 hours of the day, every day, as long as my residency lasts. So I'm really happy for this opportunity, and happy to meet other artists that will be there as well. And after being kind of locked up for almost 2 years now with COVID, working mostly in my studio, not going out, to having this experience as the mundane that we've been mentioning across the interview, is that I'm going to be able to have that once again, and hopefully right in this residency. So I'm really looking forward to that, and see how that also is I place that back into my work, since I've kind of feel that in a way I'm not participating in that anymore as much as I used to.
Yeah, so it's an exciting opportunity for you.
Yes. This for being working mostly with my computer lately, like a lot of people recently have been forced to, right? I've been doing more animation and video work, and not dealing as much with economy in the direct sense, but there's still subjects of interest that I keep working on at the moment.
And what are your subjects of interest with your video animation, Jason?
Well, I've been doing some animations using 3D animation, and uh, I did a video. Mostly there are loops. They're kind of in this realm or interest in the NFT space, which is also some kind of a market that's driven by online sales of certificates for your work. Um, so I've published work on some of these platforms already, but these particular works that I've done recently, I still haven't minted any of the works, but I'm currently working on themes of oil dependencies and touching upon subjects of religion and economy and how this plays in our faith in the system at the moment.
There's some very interesting areas that you touch upon. I'll be excited to see some of those animations. We do need to move into wrapping up the show. I want to wish you a lot of success with this residency. And it sounds like a really nice kind of like breaking out for you too, because, you know, yeah, it's been a long time coming. You really had to, you know, wait and, you know, wait out the whole course of the pandemic and whatnot. So it seems like the time is right. And some of the things that you enjoy with your collaborating with other artists, you'll have an opportunity to do. And I imagine it will be a very prolific and very stimulating creative time for you.
Yes, I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward for this time at the museum and the residency. I'm sure it'll bring big changes to the work and the way I work from now on.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Jason, it has been so amazing to connect with you and to have you give us an overview of your art and the deep implications and how provocative it is and the areas that interest you and how you implement your creative voice and your creative vision. And of course, there's just so much to tap into because you really explore so many different areas, as I mentioned, with such innovation. Thank you so much for being our guest today on Impression.
Thank you for having me once again, Leslie, and love to do it again.
Thank you, Jason. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching Art and Talks Impression. And if you are an artist watching this, or if you have an artist referral that would like to be on Impression, do let us know. And just send an email to us at viewoftheartist@gmail.com. We'll get back to you with scheduling and information. You can stay connected with us on social media, on our YouTube channel, and also on our Facebook page. Please subscribe, like, and share. We appreciate your support. All right. We'll talk soon on the next Impression. Until then, be well and be blessed.